Hello everybody on the internet. This is my 1988 Ford Bronco XLT Lariat package. I bought this truck off the previous owner about a year ago. Actually, just over a year ago. Her birthday was on the 9th. And she sat for over 6 months. No battery, not even running, in the previous owner's yard. I went over there and I literally put the steering wheel back on it because this truck had a major issue. I'll get to that in a minute. And I drove it home. She has had very few issues, minus a leaky a front main seal and the oil pan itself, because she sat so long, not getting very many miles, that all the gaskets shriveled up. So let's go ahead and pop the hood on her. So when I bought this truck, the first thing I noticed on it was the intake manifold has been painted very fancy, along with the valve covers, the exhaust shielding, the exhaust manifold, the oil pan, and the block. I mean, the block's been painted red. I mean, not what I'd do to a Ford personally. I mean, it should be Ford blue. And the previous owner deleted the smog pump, all the smog lines, which gives a nice place to put a quart of oil, and a nice place to put a quart of Mercon 5. He put a pressure regulator, and he replaced the distributor cap because he felt like it. Now, I did delete the evap canister because I was having problems pumping this thing with gas, but that's beside itself. So, other than noticing the minor things about the engine being painted, meaning that the engine's been pulled, I went inside this truck, and previous owner said that he had this thing for over 6 years. The tires, he said that he bought the tires when he first got the truck. The tires are 2014 on them. This truck came with the original owner's manual. And this is what led me down the rabbit hole for everything else. Inside this manual, I found the original owner's data card that comes with the VIN number on it. And I was able to track down the original owner. And I actually contacted him. When I contacted the original owner, I found out a lot of information about this truck. I am the third owner of this truck. The original owner of this truck, he's now 77 years old. He sold this truck. He sold this truck in 2014 to the next owner because he got tired of working on it and he didn't want to restore anything on it. But apparently, after he put 90,000 miles on this truck, which if you look at the odometer says 119,88691 on it. Apparently, he sat there, pulled the motor at 90,000, and he got bored, and he put an E303 cam in this truck. Now, the distributor firing order does say it is a 1.5 firing order versus a 1.3 if you track all the wires on it. And I got a minor tear on the seat. But yeah, the guy he sold it to didn't realize this thing had a cam on her, and he added more performance to it. And then he decided to delete my entire interior, which is the reason why she has a blue rear half. And she has no headliner. And when I bought this truck, she had no carpet. The steering wheel was removed. And a few other things were missing on this truck when I got it. So, oh yeah, and the AC had been deleted as well. So, let's get out of the rain that's now appearing. So, the original owner put an E303 cam in her at 90,000 miles. He apparently then rolled the odometer over to 0. And so when I bought this truck off the previous owner, the truck only had 5,000 miles on it. Meaning that the original owner didn't even break in the engine yet. And the guy he sold it to didn't even put 500, 600 miles on it. Meaning that this vehicle literally was a pristine Bronco that he went ahead and literally ripped everything out of it. And I've spent the last year working on restoring it. And yes, I do have the original spare for it. She's sitting in my basement. I needed a 31 tire on her because this truck is a factory 31 car. And let's just go ahead and fire it up because I know that's what you're going to want to hear. Now, she does have a Thrush X-pipe muffler with dual glass packs behind it, so it does make it a lot quieter. She runs and idles just nicely. She has a good bit of rev to her. Let's let her get down the idle. Now, I should add some pictures to prove it. This truck's got the 3 bumpers already because I went through trying to find a original late 80s bumper. These things are almost impossible to find. So, yep, you can hear she's loping on the cam. The 4-wheel drive works. So let's get down to the whole story about when I went to go pick up this truck, because you didn't know it, this is actually a roadkill truck. So when I went to go pick up this truck, and I'll add pictures to prove it. When I went to go pick up this truck, she had sat for over 6 months, stationary, no battery in her, dead to the world. And the whole reason why this truck sat for 6 months is these trucks are known, since this one is a tilt steer. Since the tilt steer columns are longer than the non-tilt steer, the lock mechanisms are known to fail right here at the little connector that connects the joint that connects to the locking pin that locks the wheel in place. And so this one was broken right here. So the previous owner had sit there, took it apart, and made it to where it would work with a push button starter. And the lock cylinder was pulled along with the housing cover here, and the entire dash was completely disassembled. I drove this thing home with it looking like I had stolen it. That's how bad it was, because I literally sat there, slapped the wheel on. She was literally sitting at this angle, and the wheel was straight. I had to find top dead center because I didn't have time to do it at the dude's place. And so, got the steering wheel on, fired it up, checked all my fluid levels. The previous owner said he had put oil in it 6 months ago when he parked it and then stopped working on it. And so it just sat there for literally 6 months with nothing done to it with fresh oil. But I still changed the oil anyway, because you never trust a guy's word until you sit there draining it and it's coming out perfectly good. So after getting all this put back together, I drove the thing home, showed my mom. She told me this thing was a piece of trash. I mean, it looked like a piece of trash until I did all my work to it. Brought it home. And so I had one of my best friends sit there go with me. We sat there road trip this thing from Metro Atlanta all the way out to like the state line and back, because I had to go show off to a friend that I wanted to sit there see what all this vehicle had capable of, and what was failed and what didn't work, and yada yada yada. So during that entire road trip, nothing failed on this thing. All I discovered was my 4-wheel drive didn't work at the time because my motor was bad on it. I've replaced it. My motor, my 4-wheel drive works. She had a lot of steering play in her, and I had a little bit of electrical gremlins with the old original radio that was in this thing, because a dual brand sucks by Kenwood. Wish I was sponsored. The radio didn't work, and neither did my my shift lever. I got that to indicate now, so that's all good. The rear window works. My hand's free because we're just stupid. And all my electricals work on this truck now. But my problem was with this truck originally, because the previous owner sat there, had this problem. She had a problem with the fuel pump, and so instead of dropping the tank, he cut a hole in it. And yes, I do have a working rear cargo light. So yeah, he cut a hole in the floor to fix the fuel pump, and he thought that was the problem. Lo and behold, if you can see it, it was my ignition switch itself that was the problem with all the electrical gremlins, because every once in a while, you go over a bump and all of a sudden, the vehicle turns off. And I literally mean by she turns off. And so I fixed that, and it also had the radio and stuff stop working momentarily. So you had to literally finagle the key, and you could literally have the engine on with the steering wheel locked. So I fixed that issue. And other than that, the main issue with this truck has been finding the damn interior. Because the guy that I bought it off of, literally, he had literally the door panels off, and yes, the original owner did make a wooden door handle grab. Supposed to be rubber. So yeah, he literally deleted everything on this truck. And I did learn something else from the original owner, aside from the fact that he had a CB radio set up in this thing. The original owner had sat there and has never taken off the top. The previous owner said he never took off the top. So this truck, at the end of the day, almost all Broncos I've ever seen have had the top off. You look at the line here, she's never had the top off. This is a virgin truck. And so, I mean, I'm going to have to take off the top to fix my gaskets leaks. But other than my original paint, which is, they left the lacquer in 1990, by the way. This is the original lacquer paint on this truck. And the only accident she ever had was she had the hood fly wide open, which is why I bought that F-250 for $200. I painted the F-250 hood black with rattle can, Raven black rattle can. So this is the original color. I've waxed it and all that. So yeah, she's been damaged on the cowl. And then a deer 3 months after I bought her, decided I had to ram the side of it. I can't have a perfectly nice dent-free vehicle. And other than that, my paint fading. And I need to do what Junkyard Diggs did and sit there and buff the crap out of this thing, because she will look very nice when done. So tell me what you think about my project, and give me any insight, what you know about these trucks, and have a good day.